Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. At this time, I'd like to ask past President Travis Tangeman to come to the podium to deliver a reflection and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon, everybody. Since I won't be here next week, I thought I'd offer these thoughts today about a week early. As many of you may know, or at least highly rightfully suspect, St. Patrick's Day is considered a national holiday in my household. In addition to a fine pint of Guinness and perhaps a nip of Jameson's, St. Paddy's Day is also a timely reminder of the concept of the luck of the Irish. While luck is often seen as something that just happens, I believe we can create our own luck through proactive efforts. Here in Toledo Rotary, we have the perfect opportunity to do just that. By engaging in service projects, supporting our community, and working together, we create opportunities not only for ourselves, but for others as well. Together, we can and will continue to make a difference and create a ripple effect of positive change both here in Northwest Ohio as well as the rest of the world. And with those ripples of positive change, those benefited just might feel a touch of the old luck of the Irish as well. So to all my friends here in Toledo Rotary, sláinte. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, as we begin our meeting today, I'd like to thank and acknowledge Brown & Kujno, this month's sponsor, and Toledo Rotarian Brent Kujno. Brent, there you are. Thank you, sir. Does anyone have any guests that they'd like to introduce today? Please come forward to the floor mic in the usual area and introduce your guest today. Please let us know the role in the company that they have, and then we need to move to the next guest.
Good morning, Rotarians. I'm bringing with you our CEO, Jason Abadili from Sunshine Communities, and our Chief Philanthropy Officer, Shannon Bova.
Thank you.
Love Sunshine. Welcome. President-elect Scott, I'm with me a longtime friend, Alma Fesh, with First American Title Company. She is looking at becoming a member.
Excellent. Welcome.
Okay, hello everyone. Not a guest, but a new member making her first meeting. So just want everyone to say hello to Laura Simmons-Work. She's the accomplished executive director at Humane Ohio. Thank
Great.
you.
Welcome, Laura. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that.
President-elect, Rotarians, and guests, I have a bunch of people here because the keynote speaker is on our board of the Salvation Army here locally. So with me is Executive Director of Northwest Ohio Area Services, J.R. Fritsch, Board President Jason Barchi from the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority, Greg Moore from the Toledo-Lucas County Health Department, Lieutenant Christian Blair, head of our church side of the Salvation Army, and his wife, Lieutenant Kiara Blair, and longtime life member of the board of the Salvation Army, Bob Seafang, who is a retired architect and the head of the nominating committee for Salvation Army. So we're here to support everybody today.
Excellent. Thank you. Welcome, guests. Appreciate your attendance here today. I also want to congratulate fellow Rotarian Ash Lemons on being named Executive Director for the Ability Center of Greater Toledo. That's a fantastic accomplishment. We appreciate that. We got Ash. At this time, I want to invite several of the chairs of the environmental, the youth, and the community service committees up to join me on the podium, on the stage here, if you wouldn't mind. I want to do a quick update on our Service Above Self Day that's coming up here at the end of March. So come on up.
I think I need a step stool. Can't even see over this thing. Whew. Hello, everyone. I'm Allison Hammonds. I am your Community Services Chair, and I am here to tell you about our project on Service Above Self Day, which is March 31st. And if most of you can see, I'm going to point this out. There is a QR code on the screen. If you will be volunteering that day, we need you to get your phones out. You're allowed to get them out now. You can go to that QR code and you can sign up. So Community Services and the Peace Committee have come together to do a project, and we are doing what's called period packs. And for those of you, most of you, I would assume, would be aware, you may not have a period, but you may know someone who has a period. There are many young women in this Northwest Ohio area that they cannot go to school when they are having their period because they don't have the supplies. So what we're gonna do is we are going to pack pads and tampons that day on March 31st, and we are gonna put packs together, and we are gonna do this at the TPS admin building, and these will go out to the young women in the community at TPS, as well as maybe some with the YWCA. So please come out and help us pack these very important pieces that these young women need. And we need at least 30 of you. So please come on out and help us on that day.
Gonna have to move this back up. So I'm Whitney Keeler. I am Vice Chair of Youth Services Committee, and we are actually going to be at the Habitat for Humanity Restore location on Conant on the 31st from 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. And we're actually going to be painting pieces that go into, I don't know if all of you have seen this, but Habitat does playhouse builds, which are really fantastic. It also wraps in nicely with our district-wide day of service in April, because we will actually be building some playhouses during that time. So this kind of all plays into our day of service. So if you have the opportunity, scan the QR code and join us there on the 31st.
I'm Kim Daines. I'm not the chair or the sub-chair. I'm on the committee for environmental services. And our fun team invites you to join us, scan that same QR code on the 31st, 3 weeks from today, 11:30 to 1. And we are going to be at Floyd Street, Toledo Tree Nursery at 419 Floyd Street. This is in the Old West End, not too far from here. And that's on donated land behind Collingwood Presbyterian Church, right in the Old West End. If the weather is bad, we're going to be inside then at Ullman's Farm and Treehouse on Hill Avenue. So what will we do? Well, this organization gives away trees all the time. That's what they do. They give away trees, all volunteer-led. Our team is going to be doing spring tasks such as spreading mulch, preparing seedlings, labeling trees, and repotting trees in order to ensure the nursery is well prepared for the year. And they recently received a $10,000 grant from us, and at some point in the future, they're going to share information about what those funds enabled them to do. But one statistic to share is a good percentage you want to see for canopy coverage in urban spaces is 40%. Currently, the Old West End is around 20%, and Floyd Street area right around Collingwood Presbyterian is 17%. And trees check a lot of boxes: cleaner water, cleaner air, and trees slow down warming in cities. So 75 to 90% of urban trees are actually planted by private citizens, and they give trees to private citizens. So many hands make light work. Come and get dirty with us.
Thank you, Allison and Whitney and Kim. Appreciate that. Folks, as you know, this has been one of the requests of our membership, is that there be more service projects available to the membership. So Service Above Self Day is just for that purpose. So please check the link, March 31st. Please come out and do something. All right. I want to now ask Dylan, our own Dylan Orwig, Toledo Rotarian and president of the Board of Team Recovery, to come up. so that he can share how a foundation grant has helped that organization. Dylan?
Thanks, Scott. So, longtime listener, first-time speaker here. But to tell you a little bit about Team Recovery, it's Team Recovery, Inc., which is a 501c3 here in Toledo. Our mission is to aim the intergenerational cycles of trauma caused by the disease of addiction. And for those who don't know, the 3 areas of focus that TR looks at on the nonprofit side is we have a lifeline service, youth engagement service, as well as family support, which goes by FAD, which is Families After Addiction and Death. And FAD is where the grant was able to help us. And the funds that you guys were able to award to the nonprofit covered electrical upgrades, speakers, computer projector screen, acoustical sound panels, and all of this went into our meeting space, which is actually the cafeteria for the services. And during every Thursday, 7 o'clock at Team Recovery on the corner of Talmadge, we host a meeting that goes an hour and a half, and that allows families to come together and speak about addiction, how addiction has impacted their families over the last year. So in 2024, we had 832 individuals attend a FAD meeting. I've attended numerous throughout my time with Team Recovery. In total, it's 509 people in recovery. They attended with 323 of their family members. So it's incredibly impactful where this was able to go. This allows us to connect to those who are unable to attend in person. So those were all visual, audio and visual upgrades. So now family members, if you're coming from Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, wherever, they have the ability and to attend these meetings, and it's really impactful to be able to share your story. In most cases, this is the first time they've ever spoke up about it. So thank you all for those funds, and stay tuned for some awesome stuff that's coming out in the next year with TR. Thanks.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate that update. I think it's just proof, obviously, of what we're doing in Toledo Rotary through the foundation with our time, treasure, and talent. So it's a fantastic update. On the heels of that, I'd also like to ask Rotarian Brent Kuzno to come to the podium so that he can provide us with a bit of a foundation note.
Thanks, President-elect Scott. We'll see you much more often soon, right? So it was really great, as a lead-in to my making a few remarks, to hear Travis's remarks. You know, we do have a chance, and we do make a difference, and our foundation is a very important part of that. Also, Dylan is an example of how we've reached out and done some good things in this community, so you guys both set the stage well. I'm here on behalf of Chair Pat Sheehan of our annual campaign, as well as on behalf of Jim Lehman. I'm on the campaign committee this year, and so I want to share a few numbers about kind of where we stand. Just helpful to say, okay, where are we? We're partway, most of the way through the year. Year ends June 30, but we have some months ahead of us. So far, we've had member donations of 35,000. We've had actually people that aren't members of Rotary also give to our foundation, which is really fantastic. And that's been $9,000. So we're at about 44,000. Our goal for the year is 100,000. And last year, we totaled about 93,000. So, and both member contributions and outside non-members made up that total. So I'm sharing that. I think it's important for us to be aware today that we have about 100 Rotarians who gave last year that have not yet made their gift for this year. So I'm hoping that will happen soon. And we have a lot of new Rotarians. Many of you are new that are sitting in the room. And so there's really about 150 people that have not given in the last 3 years. So that includes the new Rotarians. So at a recent meeting of our campaign committee, we were brainstorming, and Chair Pat Sheehan received an offer of an anonymous match program, a very simple one, and we're trying to really welcome all of our newer members or people that haven't participated before as simple as, we step up and we pay $20 for a lunch. And so the challenge came forth of this month through March 31, the first 50 people that make a gift for the first time of $20, that'll be matched by $20 more. So again, simple numbers. We pay 20 for lunch, just $20 into our pot. I can tell you that our gifts are really, really important to our ability to make the grants we make the community. So when you think about it, last year was almost $100,000. That goes into the calculation of what we can grant very directly. So our ability to continue being generous to the community is extremely dependent on participation. And I would also say that really, if you think about it, and a lot of you are just learning this, but our foundation is part and parcel, it's hand in glove with our club, and it really has a rich history. So the way our club has served the community has been both through our committees and our foundation, which are linked very, very closely. So really to get the full benefit of Rotary, participating in this is a good thing, a really good thing. And so we want to encourage that. We want to welcome, hopefully by March 31, 50 new folks that at least give 20, give more. We have a lot of folks in the President's Club at $250. There's many others that give $1,000. But whether it's $20 or whatever you feel good about, we'd welcome you. We want to have you join us and be part of that. So that's all I have to say, and thank you very much, Scott. Oh, one more thing. You'll notice on the table, there is a QR code that makes it really easy to give to the foundation. Those are on every table every week. This month, I'm the sponsor, but every month those are there. And the spoke, really this last spoke, who saw the last spoke? Who saw it? Okay. President Kevin did a great job of demonstrating the long list of grants we made so far this year, $120,000. You probably saw it. There's also convenient links and QR code in the spoke. Thanks.
Thank you, Brent. Yeah, so it's easy to give. We make it as easy as possible to give. We've already given out about $123,000 during the first cycle. We're coming up to the second cycle of the grant process soon, and we're going to have about the same amount to be able to give. So every little bit counts for our foundation. Okay, I'd like to get moving to today's program. Michele Myerholtz is the superintendent of the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. She has been with the organization since 2003. She's also a Toledo Rotarian. And she was named assistant superintendent in January of 2020 and has served as interim superintendent and now the superintendent since 2022. So please welcome Michele Myerholtz, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually only going to be up here for just a moment as I introduce the performers from iDance, the Adaptive Performing Arts Center. They are going to perform a couple songs for us. So.
Can you see by
Awesome job, guys. Thank you so much, iDance, for joining me today and sharing all about people with developmental disabilities and the services of the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. So again, iDance is actually right down the street on Summit Street, as an aside. Appreciate you guys again coming down. So again, my name is Michele Myerholtz. I am the superintendent for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I'm honored to be here today, and as a fellow Rotarian, I'm really excited to be able to share with you about March being National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. So here in Lucas County and across Ohio, we focus on every one of the 100,000 individuals that we serve every day, not just in the month of March. It is, however, a great month where we can showcase both the amazing individuals that we serve and the amazing work that we get to do as an agency every day. So we have a very long history. Our story began back in 1967 when the state legislature had the foresight to say that Ohio's 88 county boards, or counties, sorry, will have each of their own local governments and form a county board of developmental disabilities. Like most boards, our history dates back well before 1967. And like many boards, it started with a very determined parent, Miss Josina Lott. And I see our friend Tim is out here from Lott Industries, which I'll mention here in a moment. So Lucas CD traces its current programming back to 1938 in the dining room of Josina Lott in an apartment in the Old West End. As an educator, she was disturbed by how many children with disabilities were denied the chance to attend school at that time. Refusing to accept this injustice, she transformed her apartment dining room into a classroom, starting with a young first grader with cerebral palsy. By the end of the year, that student learned to read, write, and do math. Her dedication sparked a movement. What began with one student grew to 15, all crowded in her small dining room in the Old West End. Mrs. Lott was a force of nature, a woman driven by a mission to give every child a chance to find their purpose. They have a right to guidance in that purpose, she declared, and she made it her mission to ensure they received it. She was very well known to say there is no uneducable child. Every child could learn. Her tireless work led to groundbreaking achievements. I don't know how many of you know this following information, but we are very innovative here in Lucas County. We had the first property tax in the nation to fund a special needs school. The first sheltered workshop for children ready to work but not yet ready to be fully independent. Hence, Lad Industries was formed. And the creation of the first parent advocacy group for children with developmental disabilities. So the mission of the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities is to improve life so that individuals with disabilities can reach their full potential. That life is an acronym for our core values. Living life. I desire to live my life in the same manner as you. This means having the opportunity to choose my home, my relationships, my hobbies, my career, and my beliefs. Inclusion. I am included, accepted, and able to participate in all things throughout my community. Freedom of choice. My voice is heard in decisions that affect me. My voice matters. And everyone has worth. I have talents and abilities that I want to share. I deserve the chance to contribute to the betterment of my community. So a little bit about the board. We work with nearly 500 providers. There are a few in this room today. Very excited to have you guys here. Some fellow Rotarians. We serve a little more than 4,000 individuals here in Lucas County. The board is responsible for, among other things, provider support, Medicaid administration, service and support administration. We have a community inclusion program that is our Special Olympics and travel training, and we have a children's department, which is our early intervention program. Boards of developmental disabilities are the only public agencies that provide services potentially from birth through end of life. For our local funding, as well as federal and state monies, those are used to provide the services and supports needed by the individuals and families that we serve. The board is currently supported by 3 continuing tax levies and has not gone to the voters for renewal since 2013. We intend to make that last, hopefully, at least another 5 to 6 years. I suppose it kind of depends on what the federal and state government does, as our funding is very Medicaid related. So we use our local tax dollars to pull in Medicaid federal match. So Lucas DD is the state's 7th largest county based on the number of individuals that we serve. And Lucas County, at 400,000 plus people, is the 6th most populous in the state of Ohio. We have a number of very cooperative relationships within the county, the Toledo Lucas County Health Department, the Toledo Lucas County Library, Children's Services, the Mental Health Board, Lucas County Guardianship Services Board, all kinds of different other kind of county sister agencies. And then we also have partnerships with other organizations throughout our community. I mentioned the library. They host a number of things, rhythm and rhyme story time. They offer some different play groups that we do. The Toledo Museum of Art is home to our Storytellers event. If you have never been to it, that's usually in the summer in July. It's really an amazing event. It's at the Glass Pavilion. The University of Toledo, through the UT Disability Study Program, and then also through intramural sports, they do unified sports with us. And then numerous things with the Toledo Police, the Toledo Fire and Rescue Departments. All of these relationships help us achieve our mission. So, the QR code's on the screen now. I'm going to mention it now so you can have a moment to get your phone out. all of you businesses and other folks here. So this QR code will take you to our website where we have information, because we have been privileged to offer some grants to install adult changing tables in restrooms in 2 agencies, businesses, organizations, and other attractions within our community in order to help make Lucas County the most inclusive that it can be for residents of all abilities. I'm excited that in addition to the Toledo Zoo, which already has one, we've been able to award grants to the Mud Hens, the Huntington Center, and the Toledo Lucas County Public Library will all have an adult changing table in one of their restrooms by the end of next year. So that's very exciting for our community. Fortunately, I talk fast. We'll have time for questions. Employment navigation. So one of the things that helps get our individuals out in our community is through gainful employment. As we have a lot of business leaders and decision makers here in this room today, I want to take this moment to talk about employment of the people we serve. As we all know, work provides a feeling of worth, of utilizing our God-given gifts, and no doubt serves as a path to financial security on the journey to helping us all reach our full potential. All of those things are equally true for our individuals. As you can see well, I don't know, hopefully you can see it, maybe not. The chart on the top side of the slide, by adding individuals with developmental disabilities to their workforce, businesses found them to be highly motivated individuals and helped improve not only the customer experience, but internal communication between departments. And I love the quote from the inclusion manager at Boeing there in the bottom. 1 in 5 working age Americans has a disability of some kind. Think of how much potential you're leaving on the table by not looking to 20% of the population. The reward of opening your roster up to those IDD individuals goes beyond a financial one. Our employment navigation team at the board currently works with more than 400 individuals. We would love to grow both the number of individuals that we're working with as well as the number of employers that we work with. Certainly, if you have any interest, you can see me afterwards and I can connect you to the right people. Speaking of employment, I have to shamelessly plug that we are also hiring at the board. Our team it's amazing. I have worked with the board. The QR code, again, takes to the website. I've been with the board just over 21 years. It'll be 22 in August. I started off as a service and support specialist. That's one of the caseworkers. I had a caseload of children. And I have stayed because I have loved every minute of it. Certainly there's times where it's challenging, and I think, oh my. But at the end of the day, I get to make a difference in someone's life every day, whether it's directly or indirectly. No matter the position I've had at the board, even as superintendent, I get to make a difference every day. And there's nothing more fulfilling than that. March being Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, we certainly are pretty heavy-handed with activities this month to celebrate that and to help hopefully engage our community. So there are some listed on the slide there. And I'll certainly open it up for questions here in a moment. But I do really want to share with you the pride that I feel in leading such a great organization as the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I certainly wouldn't have stayed as long as I have if I wasn't proud of the work that we did and absolutely love what I get to do every day. I'm very thankful for that opportunity. Every single position at the board plays a role in helping improve the life of the people we serve. And I also want to take a moment. I know not necessarily everyone here is a Lucas County resident, but you are the resident of a county that has a county board of developmental disabilities if you live in the state of Ohio. Michigan also serves people with disabilities. It's just a little different. They're set up a little different. But nonetheless, it's through the support of you all that we're able to do what we do every day to help the people that we serve. And so I want to make sure that I'm also thanking you for your support, not only if it comes to levy time, certainly, but also just every day the things that you may do in your life in order to help include and accept people with disabilities, whether it's in your home, at your place of business, as a friend, wherever it is. Thank you for that work that you do. Oops. To leave it alone. Okay. See, I talk fast. This is like my least favorite part of my job is public speaking. I'm probably not the only one. Thank you. Thank you. So questions. I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much. I snagged it first. But my question is, what kind of programming do you have maybe for our younger youth, like middle school age maybe and high school age that can get involved and really give back and have them be more part of this community and, just to give them the empathy towards that? I guess that's my question.
Well, excuse me, certainly there's a number of opportunities within the schools. So whether it's our employment navigators or some of our Special Olympics staff are working to get out into the schools. Our self-advocates, a couple of them are here today and are at the table out in the hallway that as you were coming in, they were out. As you leave, stop by and say hi. A couple little fun items there, fidget spinners and things for those of us that need to keep our hands busy. But we're trying to get out in the schools to do more inclusive things. So whether it's helping kids learn about advocacy, whether it's like Best Buddies programs, that's more at the university level. But the sports, why am I not thinking of the name of it? Unified sports, yes, geez. Unified sports, even at the school, even in the elementary school and high school level, those are things that we're trying to grow. That very much involves typical students along with the students with disabilities in the school. So we also have certainly volunteer opportunities. It's hard for kids, so usually as a parent you would have to volunteer maybe with them, but at different, we always are willing and able to accept volunteers at some of our different events that we do, and Special Olympics certainly as well. So we have, in Lucas County, we are blessed to be able to support Special Olympics for the age span. So you wouldn't think sports for little ones that are age 3 to 6, but it's called young athletes. That's what it's called, young athletes. And that's more about play, like cooperative play. They're not playing basketball, obviously, but and then we have the youth Special Olympics, and then adults, and so those programs require a lot of volunteers. So those are definitely some opportunities. And if you have an interest or your child has an interest, we also love ideas. We in Lucas County, it is my goal to be the most creative and innovative county in the state. I'm a little competitive, and so I just want to be the best because the people that we serve deserve that from us. And so if you have ideas, I would love to hear it about anything, but especially around the idea of being able to offer more inclusive opportunities for children.
Thank you so very much for that and the presentation and the ideas concerning how to get involved and how to support from young all the way up. You know what, can you share what or how the impact of some of the changes that have happened concerning those with disabilities and what we can do as Rotarians to support and advocate? As you know, we do have a disabilities committee, and we have a number of projects that we do in the community to support those with disabilities. So can you share a little bit the impact, and then what is it that you would suggest to be done?
Well, I would say, Shanda, that feels like a loaded question. So, as I mentioned, we use our local levy tax dollars that the voters of Lucas County have so kindly blessed us with to pull in federal match money through the CMS, Centers for Medicaid and Medicare. And so that Medicaid money that we're able to pull down helps us serve individuals with disabilities through what's called a waiver. So without getting more into the weeds than I've just gotten, that Medicaid funding is very important to us. If we lost that Medicaid funding, that would be just to our agency alone, that would be a $90 million impact in just 1 year. We would not be able to continue to provide the services that we do to the individuals without going back to the taxpayers for a lot of money. And so that Medicaid is very important. So definitely advocating with your legislators to understand that, yes, Medicaid, is medical insurance that folks who fall within certain poverty limits and that kind of thing need and benefit from, and food stamps and all of that. But it's more than that. It would so greatly affect the lives of hundreds of thousands, millions, I don't know how many people with disabilities across the nation there are. But I know in the state of Ohio, it's over 100,000 in our state alone. So it would be so impactful to not have that support that they need, because that is used to basically purchase services to help them live their life that you and I take for granted, things that we can do for ourselves. Folks with disabilities may need help with. So definitely advocate, understand. There's even some more obscure things that are kind of happening that people might not realize. There might be some changes with the IDEA Act, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And if they change that, we might go back 30 years and not have inclusion in schools anymore. There was another one I just heard the other day that the English being declared the national language, if the requirement changes that to require translator services, that could affect the people we serve who need, maybe if that would affect American Sign Language, for instance. There's, people who are deaf or hard of hearing who aren't disabled otherwise, but that, so they're not necessarily receiving services from us, but that could affect some of those legal requirements that currently help protect people to be able to communicate effectively. So there's things that might change, and please know this is I'm not making a political statement in any way, shape, or form. These are just things that I can tell you might affect the people we serve, depending on kind of how things play out. Yeah.
So I did come up with a question, but a couple comments on the last two, because I thought they were great. There are, as Michele said, over 500 independent and agency providers in the county and surrounding areas. There's plenty of opportunities to volunteer for all of us. We don't consider each other competitors. We're peers, and we co-op with each other. There's lots of opportunities to get middle school and high school kids involved so that it becomes more normalized. And Dr. Gore's question, a comment there, we are at the end, we're rounding third in the governor's final budget of his administration. So if you do know anyone in the House or Senate and they speak of Medicaid as one thing, as if it's an item, speak to them. It's not one thing. We are buried within there, and we often get lumped into entitlements or SNAP benefits or things of that nature, regardless of what side of the political spectrum you sit on. Medicaid is a large piece of the budget, and we are within there. So between now and June, make your voices heard. And thank you for that question and comment. My question has to do with the last 3 years. We came out of the pandemic. There was a dip in services. People got used to actually not receiving as many. And then there became what is perceived on our side as growing interest. So can you speak to what the county is feeling with respect to what I'll call supply and demand? Where are people with disabilities and their families and their friends, where are they looking for more services right now compared to what we saw right after the pandemic?
Excellent question. So what we're seeing right now, people want to get out. They want to be out. They want to be a part of their community. And so services that are going to help them do that. It's more kind of an old school term, I guess you could say, is like day programs. Like I even heard someone the other day call it a daycare. Well, it's not a daycare. It's not an adult daycare. It's a program. There's learning that happens. There's skill building that happens. And parents these days, especially as kids are graduating from school, they have different expectations. They have more choices now. Back in the 60s, back in the 70s, when like the first sheltered workshops were coming around, that was extremely innovative at that time. That was what existed so that people could get out and learn skills and have programming and earn money. And it absolutely was, again, very innovative at that time. And now, we're moving towards, and, I want to give props to Tim Menke with LOT and the amount of incredible work that they're doing to not be a sheltered workshop, but to actually be an inclusive employer and to do some really innovative and creative things with day programming to serve people. They're really doing a great job and really being a leader in the state in that regard. As far as kind of those old traditional sheltered workshops moving into that very creative space. And so that's what we're seeing from the people, is they want new, they want different, they want to be out, they want to be given a purpose. I guess if that makes sense, if I could summarize it, I would say that. They want to find their purpose. They want to have the opportunity to volunteer, to figure out what their purpose and passion is in their life as well. And so I think the programs that we're seeing that are really growing are the ones that have kind of found a niche that are helping folks to meet that goal. I hope I answered that well. Okay.
One last question. Thanks, Scott. What are you doing for the adults that you think are succeeding, getting into the business world, that have the ongoing disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and such, and their traditional support network begins to age out or pass on? And what are you doing that would help them to navigate the wonderful world of bureaucracy, such as taxes, checking accounts, banking, and such?
Well, we at the board, so the folks that we serve, we certainly have a myriad of things that we can do to support them. We have a certified work incentives counselor. Her name's Margaret. She's amazing at her job. She is the guru of all things Social Security and how employment affects Social Security benefits and that kind of thing. Being able to apply for whatever sort of benefits the person might be eligible for, she's very good about all of that. Our caseworkers, our social workers, our service and support specialists, we call them, they're also very good about that. And in the end, it is our goal to help people get the things that they need. And as we see that a lot, where parents are kind of aging and have historically always cared for them at home, because that's just what parents used to do, is they kept their child with disabilities at home and continued to raise them throughout their adulthood. There's a lot of folks that we see that are 50 and just 50, 60 even, and just getting involved with us. We're just seeing them for the first time because their parents always just cared for them. They had kind of wrapped around them. We can still help those folks, and we do a lot of futures planning and that kind of thing to help not only the individual with the disability to kind of be comfortable with what their future would look like, but the parent that is doing their end-of-life planning, essentially, for them to be comfortable and know that their loved one is going to be cared for even when they're gone. Thank you.
Michele, thank you for your presentation. We really appreciate it. Thanks for spending time with us today. In appreciation of your time here, we'd like to give you a copy of Historical Tales of Toledo, written by our own past president, Clint Mock, and we will also be making a donation in your name to the Polio Plus effort to eradicate polio, Rotary International's effort to eradicate polio from the planet. So thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you again for joining us, Rotarians as well as guests today. We appreciate it. Next Monday, upcoming programs, March 17th, we're hosting an event alongside Chicks for Charity and Hope Toledo. It's called Early Childhood Education is Everything. So it's going to be a little bit bigger of a event. Rotarians, you do not need to sign up ahead of time to be able to attend. Just come. You can pay at the door as you normally do. If you're interested in sponsoring a table for some of the program, the people who administer the programs for the programs that are presenting there, that would be great. Please see me, or you can talk to Karen afterwards. You can also talk to John Jones about that as well. But please remember that meeting will start at 11:30 that day on March 17th instead of our usual at noon. So March 24th, Judd Silverman, Chris Peterson, they're going to have a fireside chat about the new format of Toledo's LPGA tournament. And last but not least, as we talked about earlier, March 31st will be Service Above Self Day. Please use that QR code or through the Spoke, sign up to do a service project. We really appreciate that. Today there's one meeting after the program today. Membership is meeting in Summit Room A. And if you're not currently on a committee, please sign up for a committee. We really appreciate that. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.